This is my first attempt at a proper comprehensive deck guide, so if you want to see more stuff like this, please let me know. It's a lot of work. It's something that I really need to think about and learn how to present these types of videos. With that said, if you're more of a competitive leaning person and you're getting into DC Dual Force, you might want to know what some of the best decks going are right now. Well, realistically, nobody knows. The meta is really figuring itself out, but for quite a while now, all the way back since the very first streamer beta, the quote-unquote best deck in the game, according to the community, has been Batman Aquaman. We're going to go over what I think is the best 40 card list for Batman Aquaman in just a moment, but do keep in mind, even as we go through this video, that there are some very real challenges popping up in the meta to the dominance of Batman and Aquaman, and the meta will continue to surprise us, even players who've been playing for quite some time, as more and more people start unlocking more and more cards and having access to the full card pool. As of right now, though, this is the deck to beat. First, let's take a broad look at our leaders. Batman is a fantastic tempo tool. He's got a 2-cost ability that reads +3 attack and seek one of 2 gadgets. Of the 4 gadgets available in the game right now, 3 of them are incredibly applicable to almost every situation in the game, but at least 2 of them are very, very good for you. Meaning 50% of the time you use Batman's ability, there's going to be a really good outcome for you. Grapnel Gun is situational, but in the situations where it works really well. We run Batman in this deck not only because we have a ton of gadget synergy, but also because he's just a great way at controlling the board in the early game without spending any resources. Aquaman helps us bridge the gap between that early game board control and a dominating board in the late game. Aquaman's 3-cost ability lets him get +3 attack, which is already great. It's a good tempo swing, and then it also summons a sea creature. And on top of that, he gives his sea creatures everywhere +1/+1. Because the pool of sea creatures are quite strong recruits, you can already see how this deck synergizes with itself. Batman dealing with the early game tempo of the game, and then Aquaman bridges us into that mid-game area. As for the actual cards in our deck, we have a 2-17-17-4 split across the resources in the game. There are 4 ultimate cards in this list and quite a few super rare cards, so if you don't have all of the cards, don't worry. Here are some alternate cards that didn't quite make the cut in the deck that could reasonably be in here. Superboy, Dual Force, Highfather, and a card that's recently been performing quite well for me, Wonder Woman. On the tactics side, we have Bat Signal, John Diggle, Utility Belt, Wayne Tech Engineer, and Batmobile. As for your mulligan, here are some key cards you might want to look out for. Against aggro strategies, keeping Superman robots is going to be pretty important, so keep an eye on what your enemy leaders are, and if you suspect they might be running an aggro deck, you might want to prioritize Superman robot more than you otherwise would. Alfred Pennyworth is great because he lets us activate our Batman ability on turn 1, which can be super important for removing key enemy cards. Steve Trevor, the same thing can be said for. Steve Trevor also has the additional flexibility of being able to charge up our Aquaman though. Detective Chimp is a draw card and a great way to stall out the game. Bluebird's a great keeper as well because she gives us more gadgets. I would say keeping Blue Devil while going first is really good, but while going second, it's a little bit more situational, and I would advise generally not keeping Blue Devil if you're going second. Commissioner Gordon can be worth keeping in your hand whether you're going first or second in certain situations and in certain matchups, primarily against aggressive strategies. Commissioner Gordon's a really good way to catch back up on the board, and Lucius Fox in almost all scenarios is worth keeping in your hand. Before we jump into some gameplay, I'm going to move into some broad concepts you need to understand about the deck. We're all about having board control by the time we hit the mid game, or at least by the time we hit turn 5. If we don't have board control on turn 5, we're pretty upset about it, though we can fight back. The main reason we want control on turn 5 is because we run Truth and Justice, which is a huge board swing for us. Truth and Justice can completely close out games. If you have board control on turn 5 and you jam the Truth and Justice, it's really hard for the opponent to fight back, because if they do fight back, they still have to deal with the fact that both of your characters, both of your leaders I should say, have access to 2 attack each turn without using any of their leader abilities. And then when they do use their leader abilities, they go from being 2 attack to 5 attack, which can make for a huge swing and can completely dominate the board without you having to spend any resources on recruits themselves. If you're not used to a traditional card game, this deck might be difficult to pilot because it's very much about tempo, but for that reason, I would definitely recommend this as a good starting point, even if you're a new player, because even though it might be a little bit difficult to understand how to play this deck, once you do understand it, you'll understand a lot of the core principles of playing a game like DC Dual Force. With that said, let's jump into some gameplay of Batman and Aquaman. All right, we're up against Superb Rot. Our opening hand is Blue Devil. We're going second. Like I said, we want to deprioritize Blue Devil a little bit while going second. We're happy to see Bluebird in our hand. Mira is an ultimate card, so sometimes we want to consider keeping her more than we otherwise would because there's only one of her in the deck, so if we want access to her during the game, we kind of need to keep her in our hand because the odds of us redrawing her are quite low. We have Commissioner Gordon and Blue Devil. So basically, if I take this mulligan and I just mulligan Blue Devil, I'm saying that I'm going to draw 2 bronze cards between now and my turn 2. Which I would be wrong about, but that's okay. I don't mind missing 1 resource. Even against this type of aggressive deck, I think we're going to be okay because we're going to be able to fight back onto the board with Commissioner Gordon. They start off with Partners in Crime, which is a great turn 1 play. He gets 2 3-1s on the board. These are Arkham inmates as well. which matters for his Joker effect, so we want to get those off of the board. Oh, don't worry. I was going to say we should just jam Blue Devil, but in this case, we've drawn Steve Trevor, which is a fantastic response to the current board state. We get to go Steve Trevor. I'm going to put Steve Trevor in front of Batman. Batman's going to be taking a lot of damage this game, because we're going to be using him for a lot of attacks. So protecting him as much as we can is nice. We use Batman's effect. And we will find a Batarang that is perfect here because we can use the Batarang to clear off one of the 3/1s and the 3 attack from Batman to clear off another one of the 3/1s. We've completely dealt with his relatively scary board state, which was Partners in Crime. Now, we've already got board control. Going into turn 2, we are going to have a slightly weaker turn here because we don't have a bronze card in hand. We will need to top deck one more bronze card in order to have a resource efficient turn. We want to be trying to spend all of our resources here in the early turns. He does another Partners in Crime, so that's a little bit more difficult to deal with because we don't have Batman's ability this turn, where normally we would have Batman's ability going into this turn, but because we use Steve Trevor to ramp it out, we're going to be a turn behind now. Oh, Two-Face, is that going to kill off Steve? It does kill off Steve, wow, okay. So Two-Face has a 50-50 chance to either kill off the target or draw the user a card. We didn't draw another bronze card, so now we are actually pretty far behind. We'll play Blue Devil here. Blue Devil finds us Tear Gas. Okay, so we're going to use Tear Gas on Two-Face because it's effectively removing him from the board, having him go down to 0. The scary thing here is opponent has quite a lot of damage. They've got 3 attack from each of these and then 3 attack from Batman, so they have 9 attack in total here, and they're 1 turn away from a Joker effect, so they could take Batman all the way down to 7 health. Would be pretty scary. But that's kind of why I gave up defending Batman, because if he wants to put enough pressure on Batman where he's basically in lethal range, then it's whatever. But I would rather Aquaman be super, super healthy because he's going to be now the important card for us. Batman's developed his early game tempo for us. Now it's all about that late game value that we're going to get out of Aquaman. He does end up putting the 6 damage there, but he uses the Batman attack to kill off our recruit, who I've even forgot what that was. It was Bluebird, I think. Yeah, it was Bluebird. He's grapnel gunned. What did he grapnel gun? Oh, he grapnel gunned Two-Face, so we can get Two-Face back down on the board as a 2/2 sometime in the future. That also means he'll get the deploy effect again, which means he might be able to get a draw card or a KO effect. We actually have a lot of options here. We could use Green Arrow to clear these 2, but I kind of want to save Green Arrow and Mira for the same turn. And then I also kind of want to save Commissioner Gordon and Queen Hippolyta for the same turn. So I'm going to use Aquaman's effect and Queen Hippolyta because Aquaman's going to give us a recruit. And then we can buff that recruit with our Queen Hippolyta. And then we use Batman's effect. And then we'll use both of our leader abilities to clear up this board state. Hopefully we'll find a Batarang so we don't have to sacrifice so much health to do this. We'll find a grapnel gun or a bandage. We'll take the bandage because it's probably better in this case almost always. I don't feel compelled to use this bandage. I don't particularly mind if Batman dies here or not. And another thing to keep in mind, even though if we use bandage here, we might keep Batman alive for an extra turn, it only matters if we can make him survive 2 turns more than from this point, because we need him to get 2 more charge for him to be relevant anyway. Crack shot. So he's drawing a card and he's got +1 firepower this turn, which is a little bit scary because we're going into a Joker turn. So this deal 1 damage is actually deal 2 damage 4 times randomly now. Two-Face, that's going here. Does it hit? No, he draws a card this time, so that's a little bit better. So 2, 4, 6. 6 damage on Aquaman, and he removes the aura on Queen Hippolyta. That's a lot of damage on Aquaman. And he does the 2 damage to Batman. Okay. I mean, I definitely want to go Alfred here. And I'll follow that up with Queen Hippolyta. I need him to develop a board so we can respond to it. So we want to, the reason we're holding like Mira and Commissioner Gordon and all this stuff is because these cards are really good at responding to what the opponent does, but we don't want to really use them to develop our own board. We're better off using them this way. We can use Batman's effect. We do find a Batarang. Do I want to use the Batarang here? Thing is, I don't think I need to. I think Batman's actually going to live a turn regardless of whether I do or not. The things that kill Batman kill him at 5 or 3 anyway. For example, Black Manta's deploy effect would kill Batman right now. And then also so would Bazooka. And some new players might be wondering why I'm not just using the bandages on Batman. The main reason for it is because I'd much rather use bandages when I get Lucius Fox or I get... Ooh, Deathstroke can be really scary here. Uh-oh. We might be in trouble. Lucius Fox or the Batman recruit. So I am officially worried now. So the reason Deathstroke is scary is because it can attack after a recruit is KO'd. So he can attack in with Batman to KO this, then attack with Deathstroke. And then maybe he has removal for one of these two, like something like the bigger they are to kill off one of these, and then he can attack with Deathstroke again. I mean, at that point, he's used all of his resources to kill off 2 of my things and kill Batman. So I guess he kills off 3 of my things. And in that case, I guess it would be pretty good for me. He goes Deathstroke attack, kills off Batman again. We're not worried about Batman when he probably wasn't getting another activation anyway. And yet again, we can see that 5 attack was already killing me, regardless of whether I used my attack on Two-Face or not. Arrest. That goes on the giant anglerfish, my poor fish. I mean, I get to keep my 4/5. Can we find a Lucius Fox? Lucius Fox would be so good for us right now. We don't find a Lucius Fox, but we do find a Commissioner Gordon. We can just go double Commissioner Gordon here, which is really good. So we'll go double Commissioner Gordon. It puts lots of stuff on the board and makes us less vulnerable to any Joker firepower effects. We use one of these cars to kill off Batman, and then the car plus Queen Hippolyta to deal 7 damage in total to Joker. And now I'm pretty comfortable with our board state and our position in the game that the only way I possibly lose this game is to some type of crazy combo from hand or some type of firepower combo. So I will heal out of range of that, especially now that if this leader dies, the game is over. But before, if Batman died, it wasn't like a big deal. The game is not over. So, okay, here goes Deadshot. So another firepower effect. Deadshot and Parasite together. Okay, that deals 2 damage to one of the things that have aura, and then this 3/1. Probably should have always used Joker's effect first there, so it probably doesn't really matter too much. Joker's effect, 2 damage on Aquaman, kills off the car. Wait, where was the last hit there? It was car, Aquaman. Wait, what? Oh, aura. Car, Aquaman, car. Oh, he did a 3 damage battering. In this case, we just need 1 damage to get lethal here, because if we ran 2 of our recruits into this Parasite and then Aquaman's ability plus our final recruit, Joker would be on 1, so we know that Batarang is enough to win this game. Batarang will kill off the Parasite, right? That's the name of this card, yes, Parasite. And then 2 attacks from Commissioner Gordon, and then 1 final attack from Aquaman to close out the game. There's also a world where we hit, what's the name of the card? The Seahorse, and the Seahorse gives Aquaman an additional +3, so we had even more reach there than what we saw. We also could have gone Mira and Green Arrow to give us a tidal wave, which would have been an additional 5 damage as well. Bobster for Life is our next opponent. They're playing Batman Zatanna, and this is one of the... Oh, I don't know what their deck list looks like, but Batman Zatanna has been one of the big competitors to Batman Aquaman, so let's see if this ends up... the battle of the ages, you know? Okay, so we have Lucius Fox in hand. So ideally, this is going to be a fantastic example game. We're going to try and get as much value out of that as possible. We know we want to play Lucius Fox plus a bronze card on turn 3. So we're going to keep Bluebird, Antiope, because we can go Bluebird on turn 1 or Antiope on turn 1. And then we just need to draw 1 more bronze card before turn 3. And then we'll have the perfect curve. There's that Superman. We won't need him until turn 5. But he'll be a fantastic turn 5 player when it comes. We would love to find like Alfred or Steve Trevor here so we can clear off Eugene, but honestly, it's not a huge deal. We found the Question, so the Question helps smooth out our curve, even though our curve's already perfect. We'll go Antiope here. Protecting Aquaman in this matchup... Oh, no. See, I was going to say protecting Aquaman in this matchup is probably more important, but because we have Lucius Fox, we know we're going to be able to get value out of gadgets, maybe even more so than what we'll be able to get out of sea creatures. So we are going to prioritize protecting Batman here because he's probably going to be the more important leader just based on our opening hand. That might not end up being the case, but it's my current read on the game is that Batman's going to be the more important leader. 2 damage on Aquaman. 2 damage on Aquaman and then pass. No additional bronze cards from the opponent. We'll go the Question just in case we find a better card than Bluebird to play. Found Steve Trevor. Is that better? Do we want to go Steve Trevor? Yeah, I don't mind playing Steve Trevor here. That works out quite well. We're going to go play Steve Trevor. We'll use Aquaman's ability, and then we'll clear off Eugene. We're going to hold on to Batman's ability because there's no real reason for us to use it just yet. And that's going to make for a huge tempo swing. I think we're going to prioritize Zatanna in this matchup. We'll try and kill her off as quickly as possible. You see how much value the question got there, though. It let us access Steve's Trevor instead of accessing Bluebird. Bluebird would have been a much worse tempo play than Steve Trevor there. So he's used both visibilities this turn. He's done the Zatanna looking for a spell and then Batman's ability. He's probably just going to kill off Antiope with Batman's attack. Maybe a Batarang to clear the question. Or he could have gotten like Crystal Blast or Pyromancy to try and deal with this instead of a Batarang. Either way, I think it's going to be pretty difficult to fight this board, especially dealing with the Whale for Zatanna Batman deck. It's going to be pretty difficult, especially while I don't have board control. I guess he could always tear gas it. Is he tear gassing that? He's not. He's tear gassing Steve. And he plays Bluebird. Maybe looking for that Batarang again to clear off the question. He's got John Constantine going down on the back row. I'm confused about why he didn't play... Oh, he's making it invisible anyway. I was going to say he should have played Bluebird here in the center, but the John Constantine is going invisible anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then Batarang to clear off the question. So he's actually developed quite a scary board considering how far behind he was just a moment ago. Okay. I mean, this is always a Lucius Fox turn. It just makes the most sense. Let's first use Batman's effect, knowing that we're going to have Lucius Fox. So we should be looking at these and perceiving them as though they're the upgraded versions. I think we definitely want the Bandage in this case because it's a free draw card. Then we'll play the Lucius Fox. Play Bluebird on the back row here. And we get an upgraded Batarang. We can't really use the upgraded Batarang right now because everything has Aura. But we will attack in with these two and we'll bandage our Whale. We care more about the health that he has right now than anything else. And we find Queen Hippolyta. Okay. Oh, just for the record, I actually made a mistake last turn. I should have used the bandage before playing Bluebird, just in case I drew a better bronze cards than Bluebird. But realistically, Bluebird was probably my best bronze card anyway. Speedy. There aren't really many trick arrows I'm scared of right now. At least many silver trick arrows. As long as we can kill John Constantine next turn, I'm feeling pretty good about this game. Ambush Bug, that's going to kill off Lucius Fox most likely. Yep. Alright. So, Lucius Fox, the second Lucius Fox is a dead card. We're never playing this card. But we can go Batarang here. Well, not Batarang, but Batman effect. We're looking for something that can affect John Constantine. We're going to pick Tear Gas over Batarang here. The reason for that is because it gets double value. We're going to trade here. We were always making this attack because it's the most efficient trade. But then we're going to go Tear Gas here, and then the second activation of Tear Gas, because Tear Gas targets two things now that it's upgraded. So the first one's going to go on Speedy, and the second one's going to go on the John Constantine just to get rid of the Aura. Oh, I actually misplayed. Sorry, I should have played Batwing first. We're messing up our order here, but you know, we're playing the correct cards. That's all that really matters, right? And then we get another Tear Gas, but another Tear Gas is not really important because we're always making this attack here. We're going here. The Batarang there, and then the Whale going here. Beautiful. And we'll close out the turn with Queen Hippolyta right there in the middle.
I've got a lot more than rabbits in this house.
Okay, he's looking for another spell. Takes the trade into the Whale. Maybe he's playing Nergal right now. Nergal's the demon that does a bunch of damage. Okay, this is the one I was thinking of before. Belial. The one that just deals 3 damage to an enemy or another recruit. In this case, there's only enemies available. He deals 3 damage to my Batwing, and then he goes Lucius Fox, so now he's playing his own Lucius Fox. And he just goes for the concede. Okay. Well, we definitely had more to offer that game than what we were able to show off. And I'm going to call it there. I was going to say that these guides are going to only have 2 games per video, but I was going to make an exception for this one. But I realized if I make an exception for this one, I'm probably going to end up making a lot of exceptions. And then what's the point of the rule? So 2 games per video. Hopefully you're able to learn a little bit about Batman, Aquaman. And let me know if you want more guides like this. Keep being awesome, and I'll catch you in the next one.